I seek refuge to Allah from Satan, who has been rejected. And I'm starting this video in the name of Almighty Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. This video is a reaction video to the video called The Quran Mathematic Miracles. We hear from so many Islam folks call themselves critics. So this detritus, the Quran is not preserved and it does not come from God, the Creator. But how can a book be that poses a challenge to the whole wide world? That even the mankind and the jinn come together to write something like it, they were not able to write something like it. And challenge you against it, bring one chapter in the Quran, not the entire Quran, but one chapter. And again, come to say it again, 10 verses. And nobody able to bring that 10 verses. And there are some people in the world that continue to say that Quran did not come from God. If it did not come from God, and a human being wrote the Quran from his own mind, why is it there's nobody else that can write something like the Quran? Why? Those detractors, they do not ask themselves questions. Because if you ask that question and you fail to produce something like it, definitely it came from somewhere, or from some superhuman that created this world, and he knows what all in this world, and he projected that or put that in the Quran, and he expressed himself in a way that no human being can able to express himself in that way. And not just like that, the mathematic miracles that are in the Quran. No book in the world that everything in it is cohesive, that everything in it is mathematically preserved. How? Let us watch the video and see before we can make comment.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay? He does not know how to read or write. So how is he giving the Quran to people? He's speaking it. He's speaking it. So the people who believed in him those 23 years they were with him, they did not see a book. If they thought of the Quran, you know what they thought of? Like the Prophet's face came in their head and his voice rung in their head. You understand? Like for them, they could not think of the Quran without thinking of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We can do that. When we think of the Quran, sometimes we don't think of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we just think of a book. For them, the Prophet and the message and the messenger were inseparable. The Quran comes down over 23 years. It's not been put in book form. It's not been put into a database. It hasn't been put into a search engine. Now it has. Now what the Prophet said has been put into a search engine. It's been put into a database. So you can actually do a search. How many times does the Quran say this word? You could do that? Could you do that back then? So now, after 23 years of this book and centuries later, we have this book in book form. This book uses the word ad-dunya. You know what ad-dunya means? This world. This book uses the word this world 115 times. 115 times. What word is used? Ad-dunya. Did anybody know that back then? They had no idea. This book also uses al-akhirah. This life, ad-dunya, al-akhirah, the next life. It uses it 115 times. This book uses the word angels 88 times. Malaika, 88 times. It uses the word devils, shayateen, 88 times. The word life, occurs 145 times in the entire Quran. Al-Hayat, life. You want to take a guess what else comes in the Quran 145 times? Death. Death, the word death occurs in the Quran 145 times. The word good deeds. Good deeds are mentioned 167 times. As-salihat and as-sayyi'at, bad deeds. 167 times. The word disbelief is mentioned 17 times. Belief is mentioned 17 times. Iblis is mentioned by name 11 times. Seeking refuge from Iblis is mentioned 11 times. They said, the phrase they said occurs 332 times. And the Quran says, say 332 times. How is it possible?
Wow. With this mathematic correctness, how come people will say that Quran did not come from God? Everything that God mentioned, the same verses number for the opposite things or matters and events are all exact. Now, for instance, life and death came in the Quran 145 times each. Who the human being that can do that in this world nowadays? Indeed, it shows that this book came from the one, not the person, the one that made this world and made all these things that we are seeing around us. It would be frustrating and miscalculating that somebody will look at this book to say that the Quran is not from God. This book is not from God. Because this information, mind-blowing information, that no mathematician in the world, no writer in the world that managed to write a book like this, that he mentioned numbers that agree totally. When even the Quran said that Makkah was in the middle of the world, how come? Who could know that? 7th century desert man, could he have known that if that had not been the revelation from God to him? These technologies were not there today that make us to have known or proven all these facts. So my beloved brothers and sisters, this is the end of this video. If you like it, press the button like. If you dislike it, you can also press the button dislike. But please do not forget to leave your comment at the bottom of this video, and also do not forget to subscribe to this video so you can receive my new videos as I greatly in peace in Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.